Why you keep attracting the same person. Now, let me say this slowly because most people think attraction is random, but it's not random at all. Because you don't attract who you want, you attract who feels familiar. And familiar doesn't mean healthy, but familiar means recognizable to your nervous system. And hear me in wisdom. If you keep meeting the same person in different bodies, that's not coincidence at all. That's information. And today, we're going to talk about what that information is trying to expose to you in your life. Because until you understand why you keep attracting the same type, you will keep rebuking people instead of healing patterns. Now, this isn't about your ex. This is about identity attraction. Because familiarity is not chemistry. And some of you said, but the chemistry was real. You say that all the time, right? But no, the recognition was real. Because chemistry is often your nervous system saying, I've been here before. And that's dangerous. If here was dysfunctional, right? So some of you grew up in emotional chaos. So calm feels boring. Some of you grew up having to earn love. So ease feels suspicious. So when someone comes along who makes you work for affection, your body calls that passion. But we got to realize this. That's not passion. That's programming. See, you didn't feel sparks. You felt stress with hope attached. And your body mistook that for love. Now, because attraction is agreement. And let me say something that might sting a little. Attraction is agreement. You don't just choose people, you agree with them subconsciously. You agree with how they see you. You agree with how they treat you. You agree with the role you play around them. And if you don't value yourself deeply, you will attract to people who don't value you consistently. This is what we're seeing a lot in today's society, in today's world. And the reason it's happened a lot is because their inconsistency matches your internal uncertainty. See, you weren't chasing them, you were chasing validation. And every time they pulled away, it confirmed the belief you already had. I'm almost enough. And I want to pause and say that because the truth of the matter is you're not almost enough. You are more than enough. And I want to bring a level of reassurance into your life because some of you are here right now because you can't move forward. I want you to begin to declare that over your life. You're more than enough. But we got to deal with this. Why the pattern keeps repeating? Because people ask, why does this keep happening? You asked that before. Some of you are in situations where you meet somebody, they're great, but it always ends the same way. And some of you are in a place now where you fear to date. You fear to try again because it's like in your mind, it's already programmed that I know how this is going to end. So people ask, why does this keep happening? Because patterns repeat until identity changes. That is very important to know. Patterns repeat until identity changes. God doesn't keep sending the same person. You keep perceiving the same way. Different name, different face, same emotional contract. Every relationship you enter without healing becomes a sequel, right? And the pain feels familiar because it is. And your soul is trying to master what it never healed. And that is so important because I believe that peace feels boring to the unhealed. And let me say this carefully, because some of you rejected good people because they didn't trigger you. We got to stop. I know this sounds like they didn't trigger you. They didn't activate anxiety. They're boring. They're not my type. But what if I told you your type was built off of dysfunction? That the type you had came from childhood. The type you had was never who God intended it to be. See, we have to start with that. We have to start with the root cause. Why are you attracted to this? Why do you like it? Why do they have to activate anxiety for you to be attracted to them? See, the problem with some of us is, look, here it is. They didn't activate anxiety. They didn't make you overthink. They didn't keep you guessing. So you said, there's no spark. If I'm talking to you, you can just say, ouch. But the truth is, no, there was no spark. There was no chaos. And chaos used to make you feel alive. Oh, see, this message is for mature. See, you're maturing in life. You're growing into who God has called you to be. But peace requires identity. So you can't be attracted to chaos but desire peace. Chaos only requires chemistry. See, when you heal, your attraction changes. Pause. When you heal, your attraction changes. What used to excite you will start to irritate you. And what used to bore you will start to feel safe. That's growth. And that's what a lot of people in life don't really experience. And you got to realize that discernment is internal, not external. Because discernment isn't about red flags. That's what we think. Red flags are obvious. Discernment is about noticing what you're drawn to before the red flags appear. It's asking things like, why do I feel compelled to prove myself here? Or, why am I shrinking already? Or it asks things like, why do I feel like I need to earn peace? When your identity upgrades, your taste changes. You don't like the same things no more. And when your taste changes, your future changes. See, one of the things we have to pray and ask God, God, change my appetite. And when God begins to change your appetite, I'm telling you right now, what you used to be attracted to, you're going to be irritated by. And I want to talk about this, even as we come to an end here, the unfinished close, because let me leave you with this. If you keep attracting the same person, it's not because you're cursed. Stop saying that if you say that before, right? Because I said this in the last video. Don't say things like you're cursed. Don't say things like I will never find another love. I'm just not going to get married. God is overlooked. Stop saying that. The power of life and death is in your tongue. Stop that language, all right? It's not because you're cursed. It's because something in you is asking to be healed. And healing doesn't start by finding someone new. It starts by becoming someone new. And in the next message, I'm going to explain why time didn't fix this and why years later it still shows up when you least expect it. Thank you for sitting here with me, and I pray you be blessed. I'm looking forward to see you soon. Subscribe and follow for more videos like this.